Why am I here? Why am I here? Why are we here? What is possible now that we are here together? Why am I here? It's not a rhetorical question. I actually want you to ask that. And I want you to listen as well. Why am I here? Listen with the wholeness of your lived experience, like everything in your experience is a satellite dish just sucking this up. Why am I here? And I want you to notice something about this. When you ask this question, when you listen, I won't call it an answer, but a response is already there. It's not at a distance. It's not something that you have to go and find. It's something that emerges from the wholeness of your being. Just in asking that question, check that. Why am I here? We're looking for what I call a felt sense, like the texture of your living experiential reality. Why am I here? We make a massive mistake at this point because we think that this must be something explicit, a word, a symbol, a particular kind of feeling. But whatever it is that's present as the wholeness of your experience when you ask this question, that's your felt sense. Why am I here? Don't get caught in the question either. The words might not be the right words for you, but I bet you know what I'm talking about. It might be more, what do I have to give that is unique to me, to my being? What am I being called to do? Lofty language I don't often use, but what is my soul mission or my soul purpose? And get that sense, like a flavor, like something you can't quite grasp, but it's obvious and present. And listen to it. Let it speak to you. Words will come. Images will come. But keep tuning in to that felt sense. If you get one thing from this 25 minutes, and it's how to listen to your experience in this way, that will be worth it. It'll be worth my time, it'll be worth your time. There's one other mistake that we make at this point. Why am I here? And we feel pain or it sits heavy on us. Or there's some element of your experience that you don't really want to listen to, that you don't want to pay attention to, something that bothers you or that hurts you. That's got to be a part, because it already is a part of your whole experience. Don't just focus on what is negative, but include it. So as I'm talking, we're going to actually break into an exercise, which I'll express in a second. But for the rest of this talk, for the rest of the day, if you like, just keep tuning in to that felt sense. It will change, it will move. It is nuanced, it is always outside of your reach. It is unknowable. It's a bodily kind of knowing, but not what we usually mean by knowing. So what we're going to do in a moment, we're going to break up into twos. And like you were an appliance, like a blender, or a vacuum. Like you're a vacuum plugging into the wall, electricity running through you and moving you around as it wants to. Plug into this felt sense and express it. You don't have to talk about it. Just what does it want to say as you? Give your entire instrument, your body, your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit, give it to this felt sense and let it move through you. You're going to do that with a partner. So the person who's active will be doing that. Plug in and express. Bias movement. Let it be active. And bias speech might just be noise. Might not be intelligible. Might be in a language that your partner doesn't speak, but let it speak through you. Does that make sense, active partner? What you're going to do? Everybody got an idea of that? Okay. Passive partner, passive. You're going to listen to this being in front of you with an attitude of what I call open, loving, evocative. Does everybody know what that word means? Evocative means you're sucking purpose, in this case, out of this being in front of you. Like every word that they say is mana. It's very nourishing, and you just want it. You want it to land in your heart. So open, loving, evocative curiosity. Does that make sense? Okay. Find a partner, very quick. And decide between the two of you. Decide between the two of you who's going to go first, who's going to be speaking first. I need a bell, Andrea. Bell? Bell me? Yeah, thank you. And whenever you're ready, you can go. Plug into purpose and express. Listen from open, evocative, loving curiosity. Y'all can speak. I didn't do that. You have 2 more minutes. Let it be urgent. Something wants to come through you, and this is the time. This is the only moment that this has to materialize itself through you. What is it that needs to be said, or needs to be done, needs to be shown? Yeah, no problem. Start to wind down. Let it come to rest. Whatever it is that is finding expression through you, let it be round, let it be enough. Shake it off if you need to. You're going to switch partners one time, again, very quickly. Active partner. Plug in to this sense of purpose. Let it move itself as your body, as your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit. Passive, quote unquote, listening partner. Listen to this being in front of you, this magnificent creation, with an attitude of open, loving, evocative curiosity. And you can go when you're ready to. Got about a minute. What is it that wants to come out? Let it. This is the only moment you ever have to do this. Okay. Let it wind down. No need to stop yourself short or cut off what it is that's being expressed, but let it find rest. And come and sit back down. Just find the nearest seat. Okay. So this is the beginning of a process that I do with groups of people that normally takes about 3 hours. This is the very first step in it. I'm going to talk through a couple things really quickly. The idea here is to move this felt sense down from being something that is ungraspable and untastable, giving it a name, not confusing it with the name, but giving it a name, something that you can work with, taking that and moving it down into what I call mission, which is something that's explicit, pointable at in the world. And again, not confusing the felt sense with the mission, with the thing that's pointable at. And then taking that mission and saying, what's the next actual super practical thing that I need to do to move in that direction? There are two directions that people tend to head in this alignment from purpose to action, where they get stuck. One is wanting to stay with the felt sense, wanting it to be perfect, not going into action because you just want it to click. People tend to keep moving back up into the feeling. And if you find yourself doing that, move down a step, move into action. Other people are great at action, but that action becomes disconnected. It becomes dissociated with the actual whole experience of their lived being, their living expression of wholeness. So if you find yourself acting but you don't know why, then stop and listen. You cannot listen to or for the felt sense enough. We do not understand that in our culture, even this culture where we're talking about bringing purpose out into the world and manifesting it. We do not understand that. That was distracting. Okay, what else? Yeah. So this is the beginning of a 3-hour process. I'm going to be doing this process in 2 weekends, so the 16th of June. If you're interested in that, the flyers that I gave out before on the back have some information, how to get in touch with that, with me to do that. This is also one little element of an orientation to life and practice that I call dreaming and that I do with some of the people in the room, actually. The core idea is that what we're doing here is waking up to itself. Waking itself up, waking up to itself. Your meditative awareness, your sense of awakeness, the free-flowing expression of your being, your purpose, your unique gift, our space of communion, relationship, communion, community, relationship, and the physical, literal, very practical actions that we take together that shape this world around us, they're not different from each other. They're differentiatable. We can talk about them as if they were separate, but they're not separate from each other. And we practice that. So if you're interested in that, also we're doing a weekend in Berlin in the end of July, and in Amsterdam, July 21st. You can talk to Jan, he's been doing it with us. Come up and talk to me. Judith, beautiful Dutch woman sitting right there, blonde hair, glasses, blue dress. She's one of my co-holders. We have a couple other people here too, Adam, if you're curious in that, or about that. And I love doing this shit. So if you are just curious about any of the things that are on the back of that sheet, there's some troubleshooting tips and trips for moving from bit to bit to bit, then come up and ask. I love that. Let's see. What else can I do? I don't tend to like the word purpose, and there's a very specific reason for that. And we kind of have been talking about it. We organize identity, particularly in this epoch of human consciousness. We organize our identity a lot by projecting states of consciousness elsewhere. We project them in the future. We project them into other people. We project them into the past. We project them into conditions. And we often use the word purpose to mean the thing that's going to happen after which I can finally let go and be myself. So we're going to do a little bit of a practice for reclaiming that particular activity in the last minute and a half. So I want you to take what feels like you, and again, this is going to be something that's here. Don't reach for it, find it. I want you to take what feels to you like the most beautiful, the goodest, the best, the goodest, the most true intention that you can possibly imagine. What is it that your soul longs to bring about? And I want you to just touch that. And do the same thing we were doing before. As you tune into it, strengthen it, bring it more here, bring it more real. Let it become palpable as your experience. Let it suffuse your experience like light fills a room. And I'm just going to say a little prayer really quickly. Let our actions and our interactions with each other during the next 24, 36 hours be the living expression of these intentions. Be the deepest and most beautiful expression of why we are here together. Thank you.